winter here in Texas now.
Yep.
Welcome to Aging with 8-Bit, the podcast where we talk growing up with games and how they've evolved over the years. We're your host, Tyler, and
Colin. What's up, guys?
So it's been a couple weeks since we've done a show. Have you seen any news that you're excited about or disappointed about? I got plenty that I'm disappointed about, but
excited and I say, like, does it have to do with video games? Maybe a little bit. Actors Guild, I'm glad you guys got your I'm glad it worked out for the strike worked out in your favor and
that's
so
a
on.
payday.
And but I loved that one day we had like 35 movie trailers come out. They were like, all right, release it. We can now talk about it.
Yeah.
So really, I'm just interested to see like what's going to happen with like the Spider-Man series and so on. But more related to games, I'm super excited for Call of Duty, believe it or not. I've been playing a lot of that. And then
Why?
So obviously,
Sorry, that's mean.
I'm a big like zombies player, and so like the last iteration of zombies that they put into the game for Vanguard was like horrible, like really bad, and so I think it wronged a lot of the zombie community or zombies community. This one doesn't feel bad. It kind of feels like basically a skin for DMZ, but the things that are in zombies and like the modes and missions and so on and so forth, and dropping in with 3 of your buddies in this open world system, I'm really hoping they can like figure it out and make it like a compelling story. But I probably played like 6 hours last night and really like enjoyed it and like hopping into game and out.
This Modern Warfare 3?
Yes. Yeah.
I've hearing a lot of like negative stuff about it.
Probably.
Like I've heard people like basically leave a whole bunch of bad reviews on Modern Warfare 3, but they're doing it on the wrong one. They're doing it on the old one, not the new one. So they're review bombing Modern Warfare 3, but the wrong one.
The one that got it right way back when.
Yeah. So what's different about this one than the old one?
Well, I'm thinking, and I'm just super busy with work right now. So it's like I hopped in the game. Like last night was the first time that I've gotten on the game in a long time. And I think for that reason is why, I was like, man, this is a lot of fun. Because I think for me, it's the drop in and drop out and not feel like I need to stay to 50 rounds. So like when you drop in with your team at your strike force, which is a team of 3, you have like missions all around the map, much like DMZ. Are you aware with like DMZ at all or no? Do I need to assume that you have no idea what I'm talking about?
Dragon Ball Z, DBZ, I don't know.
All right. Well, DMZ is like obviously you drop in and there's other teams across the map. Mm-hmm. And you're trying to like get loot and do missions, but you don't want the other teams to attack you, right? So this mode with zombies is like that, but the other teams can't attack you, so you can work together. But when you work together, like when you're in close proximity, there's more zombies that spawn. So like our team of 3, we ran into 2 teams of 3. So there was 9 of us players in like a small circle. And what would be like round like 10 or 11, not even that, but like 12, where they're like attacking you in hordes and you can't reload fast enough. Because all of those players or all of us were in that tiny area together, it automatically did it. So it's not really round based, it's like situational. And then it's like the map is layered. So at the center of the map is red zone 3, super hard zombies. You have to have probably pack a punch level 2 or 3 weapons to actually survive and have fun. But there's like things that you can do. So what the fun part is introducing my friends to zombies and like, hey, this is a valid game mode that you should play. But ironically, we hopped on Fortnite after that, which was really fun, like the OG map.
How long did the rounds last?
No, that's it. So when you drop in, you have 38 minutes, and you can do whatever you want for 38 minutes. I can sit there and I can literally camp in one place and just mow zombies down.
Is there a penalty for like leaving? Like, do you like lose?
No, you're actually rewarded for successfully exfilling.
Oh, really?
And so, like, you get, like, bonuses and stuff like that. So, like, in DMZ, when you successfully exfil, you basically get, like, perks for your character, and it, like, stacks. And, like, 10 successful exfils on DMZ is really hard, so you get, like, the most, bang for your buck there. But on zombies, it's more like you just get experience and you get to carry. What's cool about it is the loot that you find. So like if you buy a gun off the wall, you can put it in your bag, and then when you exfil out, you get to keep that gun in the game like later on. Like so if it has a cool attachment or you haven't unlocked those attachments yet or whatever, you can get it and keep it and take it out of the game into the lobby. You can mess with it, get camos for that gun that you haven't unlocked yet, so on and so forth.
They still doing loot boxes over there?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Wait. What do you mean?
Like any, like, you know how they do.
Oh, pay for it? Like kind of like Overwatch used to do?
Yeah.
No.
No.
I mean, they do a battle pass, but I mean, it's completely optional. But there's nothing in it. I mean, you can do.
Wow.
I think like
surprising.
The store is more like, hey, there's this skin. If you want to like run around as Santa Claus, you can, but you don't have to. What the coolest thing was they added Alucard from Van Helsing anime.
Yeah.
And I got wrecked on him at Warzone, but it's pretty cool to like, I'm like, what is that? And it's this pale white figure with a red cape running like over buildings. And I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good.
That's what threw me off with Fortnite, because I've never been a Fortnite player, but I would watch gameplay even though I have like no clue what's going on.
Right.
And it tripped me out when they started doing the skins. Like you'd see like Goku running around, or, you know,
speak of that,
like JJK characters, and you're like, oh, it kind of makes me want to play. But
I would say Fortnite Zero build has been like the most fun that I've had as a shooter with my friends.
Yeah.
Because you have to orchestrate as a unit and so on. Now there's some like gimmicky weapons and stuff, but what I was going to say, so last night the crew, you know, the four that I usually play those games with, we all were like, all right, we're going to wear banana suits. So we have ice banana suits. We were going to be the banana hammocks as we were like trying to take out this team. And this team was so dripped out. Like, I don't know what else to say it, as cringy as that may sound. But I think it was Piccolo. I think I see Piccolo come over the hill, and I was like, oh, okay. And then Goku's like, you know, the anime sound, like dun, dun, dun. Like, you know, it's like it's not going to be good. Goku's standing up at the top with a sniper rifle, sniping down on us. We got obliterated by a whole DBZ crew. They all had different like Dragon Ball Z skins.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's something that could get me to play.
Yeah,
if it's earnable in the game. If I gotta like go buy it, I'm like, all right, never. It's not that cool.
They had like a battle pass like maybe a couple. I wouldn't say a year ago, 2 years ago. It was the anime battle pass. Mm-hmm. So you buy the battle pass was like $10, $12, whatever. And as you could unlock different anime characters as you went on, which was legit, because Goku's like glider as you come in is the Nimbus Cloud.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. See, that would get me in the childhood memories. I'm like, all right, you're hitting on that nostalgia. I'm going to, here's my credit card.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's it. I mean, I have a couple, like one of my kids was talking to me about this game that I had no idea was on this earth, called Path of Titans. Have you heard of this?
Mm-mm.
It is a dinosaur MMO.
Okay.
And you start out as a baby dinosaur, and you literally like it takes like in-game days to grow.
Oh, okay. All right.
Age.
All right. Yeah. So I have a buddy who's sweated this game.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about when he gets into something, he sweats it for a couple weeks. Like that's all he does. It consumes his whole life when he's not at work. And he was telling me about this game, and he's like, it's fun until you run across other people, then it's not fun, like online.
I think it's like 12, 14 player maps, but the maps are huge because you have to grow this baby dinosaur into like an adult. There's like, and you get powers. Like you can like, there's builds for dinosaurs and like whatever.
Yeah, he's like, if you get in a situation to where you run across, I can't remember what he called it, like a carnivore, like a big carnivore.
Yeah, but they have like the nicknames for them too, and they're like, oh yeah.
I don't know what they call them, like what the lingo is for the actual game that the players use, but he's like, if you come across one of those, you're basically screwed because you're going to have to start all over.
Yeah. And
like there's some servers you'll hop into, and it's people that just camp baby dinosaurs, and I was like, that's so messed up.
So it was like, there's like and people have like spent like a lot of money on this game, and like they're like, what's funny is they'll kind of like how they'll release a new class, but like in Overwatch, if you will, like an assault or a tank or whatever, This game does that too, right? So they'll release like a Triceratops, if you will, but it's like more a tank build, and you could add like a charge alt or whatever. I think I'm not true, but like they were like going and talking about this, and they're like, oh yeah, there's like TikToks dedicated to this, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's a dinosaur MMO, and you want to be a dinosaur,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. You can live out your Jurassic Park fantasies, but he said if you're in a bad server or whatever, it's not fun.
Yeah.
Because you'll spend a whole bunch of time growing your little dinosaur to just get crushed all of a sudden.
Well, it's like Rust.
All over. Yeah.
It's like Rust in a way.
Or you'll hop in another server and it's just sweats camping anything.
Yeah.
They're all like in a group or like a guild, and they're all just a huge like
Have I ever told
carnivores.
Have I ever told you my griefing story with it was Age of Sand or something like that. But basically like you build like these wooden walkers. Have I ever told you this?
No.
Okay, so it's like when the game first came out, and you guys may be able to tell us or like be like, oh, that's the game he's talking about, because the name escapes me right now. But anyways, you get into the game and you're like, one of your resources is like water. So you're in this desert world, right? You go and you like collect wood and stones and stuff like that, much like Minecraft-esque in a way. But the reason why water was so important, it was a commodity. Sorry, guys, I was coaching all weekend and I have no voice. So when it was a commodity, and what was different about it is you would be on this server and you could click a button, and instead of the map of the like actual map, you could see the server map. And you could literally pay X amount of water to hop from one server to the next.
I know what game you're talking about. I don't know the name.
Okay.
But I've heard of it, yes.
So there was this one Titan class thing that we were all trying to build. It was like 8 of us playing on this one server together. And what's crazy is like the server would like run out of resource, and you had no choice, but you had to go to another server that may have more wood or water or whatever, right? So we're playing on this lonely server, like we had just hopped servers, right? Used up all of our water, had to recollect our resources, and we had these little crawlers, nothing crazy, right? And in the distance, we could see, and this is nothing crazy because it was known for this game, but I could see the name, but it was characters that were not English as like name titles coming towards us.
Mm-hmm.
And then it rendered, and I said, oh my God. So it was a Titan class. So it's like, you know, like Wild Wild West, the movie with Will Smith?
Yeah.
The spider, it's like that. But it's like an aircraft carrier.
Like a fortress.
It's a fortress, a walking fortress. And then it literally had like these cranes where they could drop the smaller ones and they could take off, and they were faster. Okay? That Titan class could hold 40 people. And you can look up videos, and there was like chests on it, and people would have armor and blah, blah, blah. Okay, granted, there's 8 of us. And we had just collected enough resources to make like a ship, right? That we all could barely fit on.
Yeah.
We get into the server, we're like harvesting and like circling around. And then this Titan class like renders in. And I was like, hold on, boys, because nothing's good is going to come out of this.
You got to run.
You try.
Yeah.
They drop their 2 like speed class, and you just see them like they circle you. And what was crazy on the game, because it's all wood.
Yeah.
You could throw Molotovs, burn the legs off of whatever boat they're trying to get away with.
Yeah.
And they're stuck. And
Jesus.
so they burn the legs, and then we're literally surrounded, and they're asking us like, so I'm assuming the game went live in China, right? So they would have like, this is what my friend told me. It was a griefing group. Like they would literally like get on Discord and be like, hey, we're going to make everybody's life
miserable,
horrible.
Yeah.
And so they would literally get on it, and they would demand they would leave you like a little bit of water. And if you tried to attack, they literally would decimate you and whatever. But like, that's my like idea of griefing. Like when you talk about like the little like spawn camping on baby dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
That is my experience with it.
I think that game, when I was looking into that game a while back, I think what I was thinking it reminded me of, there's an old 80s movie, I think, called like Waterworld.
Yeah.
That's probably wrong. But I think it's called Waterworld.
It's like a mixture of like Waterworld, Dune.
And Wild Wild West.
And Wild Wild West. It was this old... So the premise of the game was based on like the structure. Have you ever seen wind structures? where like they'll have them on the beach and the wind drives the legs.
Oh yeah, the super like nightmare haunting.
Yes, so it was like that was
sculptures.
That was the energy that, but not energy, but that was the whole premise of the vehicles.
Yeah,
right. Like that's how you walked and everything else because they were wind powered, so on.
I got you.
I mean, we put a lot of hours into that game, but that was my biggest moment of like thinking of like griefers because it was like because to build that Titan class in game. Like calculated was like 40 hours, single player hours to collect enough resource to at least contribute to building that structure.
The giant one?
The giant one.
Honestly, 40 hours, that seems reasonable.
I mean,
it's huge.
But it's very
I thought
doable.
you were going to say like 100 plus.
And I could be wrong, but I think that was we calculated they had 40 people.
Yeah.
So it was wild. And it was, I mean, it literally would take everything that you had to do it. But it was, I mean, they've now, since, they couldn't, it's funny is they tried to get in front of the griefing after it was like a bad thing and they couldn't correct it. And so they completely had to change their whole paradigm on how you play the game. Because I loaded it back up. I was like, man, I saw it. Because I did put a lot of hours in. I reloaded it and like got in and played. And it was its own like self-build, like find these resources and it wasn't really like PvE anymore. It was more, like PvPvE.
Yeah.
It was more like just PvE.
Yeah. I mean, I figured if you wanted to do it, you could just flag yourself for PvP.
Yeah.
Like they do in WoW. And it gives you like a certain time frame before and after you turn it on and off to where you're still like targetable by enemy players. Just so you're like, oh, an enemy, turn it off, whatever. You're still for 5 minutes. I can still get you if you had it on.
Yeah.
Like that stuff works.
Yeah.
So they should have done something like that because that's lame too. Like,
well, and
I want a PvP when there's a noob running around. And so I'll turn it on real quick, go get him. And then if a Titan class comes at me, I'm going to turn it off. Yeah. Like, oh no, you're still targetable for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. See, that was, like New World did that. I mean, sorry if that brings back any bad feelings for anybody. Amazon's is it New World?
I don't know. Anything with Amazon. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm boycotting Amazon right now. I just, anything with Amazon, it's just, they're buying up everything. Like they bought Crunchyroll.
Yeah, it's Monopoly.
Yeah, I was like, don't ruin it. Like, okay, I will say that Crunchyroll, the app, needs a update bad.
Well, and I think it's going to get a facelift.
Yeah, because that app sucks. Like, if it could just run a third as smoothly as Netflix does, I would be happy. But that app is just crap.
Yeah.
So, as long as Amazon doesn't mess with the content and just updates the app, I'd be cool with that. But I feel like they're gonna get in there with all their little fingers and just put their hands in everything and all the other studios producing animes and start messing with the content. Like
I'm worried about that when it starts letting these companies become mega companies and they kind of take over everything.
So if I go on there in the future and I see an Amazon Prime original anime, I'm like, no. I've seen what your games.
I don't even care if it. Yeah, I don't even care if people tell me that it's good. I'm gonna not watch it at all.
I've seen your games. Stop it.
Well, and they had this like team shooter. Do you remember this? I can't remember what it was. They had basically when New World dropped, it was like 3 months later. They had this team shooter that came out, and it was decent. I mean, I played it mainly because Amazon said, "Hey, you're a Prime member, so you get in to try for free or whatever." With the other 100 million people, but literally they were like, "Oh, it's not being like." Maybe 7 months after this, they were like, "Oh, it's not as successful as we thought it was going to be. We're going to be shutting down servers and getting rid of this IP." And I was like, okay.
And they can do that because they're the sole, licensor. Like they can do whatever they want with it because it's their big daddy Amazon. Even if you like the game, they're like, oh, sorry.
Speaking of the Fallout, the show is coming out in January or February.
Yeah.
I am hyped for that.
Are you?
I really am. Okay. I like TV has like been doing me more justice as of recent than movies. I feel like I'm just negative Nancy over here because I could care less about it. Just because I'm like, there's some things I like keeping separate.
like Fallout,
right,
and like World of Warcraft. Like they don't need to cross, especially that D&D movie. I feel like they don't need to cross over to other platforms. Like if you can just leave it as a game, that's my safe space. I don't need you on the Samsung. As, when I sit down to eat or whatever.
Yeah. And I think they're trying to plug in, kind of like how you said earlier, they're trying to plug into our nostalgia. Because, like people, like everybody says, you can't play games all the time. And then they're like, some executive was like, yeah, but when you're not playing games, you're watching TV or whatever, right? Yeah. So let's just crank those out. And honestly, I mean, there's been some movies that have been successful, like gaming movies that have been successful that people were like, oh, it's not bad. So I think that's kind of like where it's taken a turn for that.
I don't know. There's some, like gaming wise, like, I mean, I guess you could put The Witcher on there, but I don't know. Was The Witcher was a book before it was a game, right?
It was a book before it was
that
a game.
one, that one's kind of unique to itself. One Piece. I don't like the One Piece show on Netflix. I don't know. The characters, like, they throw me off. I don't think the animations are that great. Like the CGI is that great for what it should be.
And this is where we probably disagree a little bit.
Oh yeah, I know. I know. I think it could be so much better. For me, it was either leave it alone or do it really good. Well, and I don't feel like they did it extremely well.
That show comes out this week. I mean, no, December 15th.
What, Yu Yu Hakusho? Yeah. What are they doing with this?
Netflix has a live action.
Leave it alone. Stop. Oh, my God.
Well, I'm sorry I have to be the bearer of bad news. Yeah, it comes out December 15th. You got to watch it. I mean, you don't have to.
I'm going to have to watch it, but that's what I said about the Death Note one. Did you watch that?
Listen, that one we can agree on. That was the worst.
Christ, it was so bad.
That was like if you and I were like, hey, let's make a show. That is exactly what would happen.
Right here at this table in this living room with this camera.
Yeah. We're gonna sit down and do the whole plot.
I was like, this is Dragon Ball Evolution all over again. And that was back in 2006 or 7.
Yeah. That was bad.
Oh God, that was so bad.
What was the newest animation movie that like gave us hope? Or like it was something, I don't know. Anyways, I digress.
Like the show or like an actual like animated movie?
No, I think it was a show. No, the Avatar, The Last Airbender trailer finally dropped after the strike.
Oh, yeah.
That looked good.
That didn't look too bad because there was the difference between that and that's what I was talking about, the One Piece.
Yeah.
Like the CGI right off the bat for One Piece for me in the trailer, I was like, eh.
Well, and I think honestly, but I think it's, and we've talked about it before, but I think One Piece, obviously Oda was behind it, but it did a lot of things that we needed it to, because now they're going to like, there's not a person that I don't talk to now that hasn't seen One Piece.
Yeah.
Or that's very familiar, or it's like at the forefront, like the One Piece card game through the roof, right? And like stuff like that, like it's becoming more prevalent for people.
Oh yeah. Like right in front of our eyes, it's becoming the new, like, Pokemon, to say. Like, everyone knows about it. Everyone watches it. Now we have a card game. There's old Shonen Jump games from like the all the way back to GameCube and Game Boy Advance up until now that people are going back and buying and driving up the prices because they're like, oh, I didn't know you could play as Luffy in 2002 with this Game Boy Advance SP game. And
so with that, now I think it's like, and I think with CGI, maybe it is time, but I also think it's money. Like, you got to have money to throw at it, right? And now that, Netflix or the powers that be are like, oh, this is a successful IP, right? Let's just throw whatever we can at it and make it successful. And it's like Oda coming out, like it was like maybe 2 weeks after the season premiered, like One Piece, and he was like, there will be a season 2. And revealed that, Chopper's going to be in it. Like, that should tell you, like, he just completed the hype train because now everybody's jumping on it. So I was just like, yes. Like, but now it's like we can take these things and so on. But I think it's a step further than, like, we're being the kids that are oh, the book's way better, right? We're being those people, you know what I mean?
I don't want to be like that, because I think what also, like, I don't know if this was intentional. I feel like it was, though, is like, okay, these kids that grew up watching this show are now in their late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
And they have money now.
Yep.
And they can spend this money on all this
stuff
to hit them in the nostalgia, you know, like the One Piece.
Well, I guarantee you there's going to be like a season 2. I know where you're – go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. And so, which we don't have money now. We have credit card debt. There's a big difference. We none of it's real. It's all simulation. Oh, my God, the system's going to crash. I'm sorry. But no, they either like the producers behind it is our generation, or someone up in the ladder is like in their 30s like we are, which grew up with One Piece. So when they finally got in the position of power, they're like, we're making One Piece.
Yeah, we're doing
I've been waiting this forever.
Well, I think there's going to be a season 2, and I'm sorry I cut you off.
You're good.
I think there's going to be a season 2, and then there's going to be like every One Piece arc, there's going to be a movie. And that's where you're like, where I was going to get, like I was agreeing with you, like that's where they're going to hit us in the pocketbook. So they're going to do season 1, which we're done with, season 2, movie. But and a lot of people are going to be like, and I think it's going to be Netflix backed, but it's going to be simultaneous release, movie theater and Netflix.
Yeah.
Behind a paywall.
Yeah. If it stays popular. Yeah. High ratings, it's going to be like Disney with Star Wars. They're like, okay, we can make anything and people will pay for it.
Yep. Even
Obi-Wan.
Have you seen Star Wars Visions?
No, because like they put out so much content. Like it's almost the same. I mean, I was going to get into this later, but it's almost the same thing. Star Wars and World of Warcraft. Yeah. It's like content overload for me. Like it's getting to the point where I don't care, because they keep like Ahsoka, like just came out, and it's, you know, you don't got to put out anything else for a little bit. Like you can chill. Like even after the Bounty Hunter series with Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, like just one right after the other. I'm like, y'all can pace it out. Like I need time I don't want to just sit here and consume Star Wars. And some people will probably be like, you're an idiot. Like we live in the best time possible for content. Yeah. You're never bored. Like you can constantly consume Star Wars. And I hate it because it's just like, it makes me not care.
Well, and I think it's the success and failure of a streaming service. They have to keep your attention. So I see why they're like cranking stuff out. It's because you and I, it's the model that they've accepted, right? So if they're like for premium with no whatever, you can get, for no ads or whatever, you can pay $120 for the year. Or they have the other one where you have, and Disney doesn't have ads, but they are like, you can do $10.99 a month and you can cancel whenever. And I think they are constantly trying to stop people from canceling. Right. Yeah. And so we fall into this pitfall of like, we have to crank out these things. We have to get them done. And I think, you know, kind of tailing it back to the strike. And I know, and guys, like we say this, but we always talk about like it is games, but it's like just growing up with things. Like the reason why I say this is, and we talk about Star Wars and everything else, is because a lot of things that are in our childhood are now like relevant, and people are trying to capitalize and make them something and like use our money towards it. So it's something that's near and dear, right? And then I think about like with, you know, games that are becoming movies, or like games adding movie characters into the game, or vice. I feel like there's this thin line that we kind of go back and forth with. And that's why I think I've like kind of gone down this rabbit hole of talking about it today, is because there's a lot that, you know, that it's factored around a lot of things like pop culture in a way, or like things that we find important, that are now tied back into like, hey, how much is your dollar really worth?
Yeah. So, I mean, what were you originally talking about? We were talking about new releases that we were excited about.
Yeah, and I think that's what we were kind of gotten. I went on a tangent of movies just because that was what I was inundated with, but go ahead.
One more thing with Ahsoka. That scene with Anakin, the training scene in her mind, that was crap. I hated all of that. I'm sorry if a bunch of people liked it, but I thought it was just like terrible. Okay. The one thing I noticed that I wanted to talk about last week, but we didn't do a show, was the release of the new WoW cinematic.
Yeah. I've been waiting for this.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I feel like you're all positive vibes over here, and I'm negative.
No, actually, because I'm actually with you.
Shadow Realm.
Yeah.
Like Pegasus, I should never leave Toon World, but I hate it. Like, it looked great. Art department never fails, and wow, everybody knows this. Like, they are always on point. The cinematic team crushed it.
Yeah.
It looked great, but the content of the story produced was terrible.
Yeah.
It's not fun. Like, if you go back and look at the original WoW cinematic for BC, Wrath, even Cataclysm, like, it was fun. Like, they would get you pumped up.
Yeah.
Because there's action going on. It showed, like, either some of the classes and they're doing, like, their cool moves or whatever, or it shows, like, a big thing happening in the world, like Arth is stabbing the mountain and the dragon flying out, Syndragoza. That's not her name. I'm sorry. Oh, my God. I can't. There's a lot of WoW people that's going to be mad about that.
The internet's literally blowing up before we even post it.
Yeah. It would make you feel a certain, like, it would get you pumped up and make you feel excited.
Yeah. The
last few cinematics coming out of Blizzard are just therapy sessions for Anduin, and it's so boring. I don't, like, you could say Thrall and Anduin, main characters of WoW, cool. I don't care, though. Like, I'm here. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be a third party in their therapist session that they're constantly having from Shadowlands to now. It's been going on. Show some cool cinematics. Like, yeah, you did the cool where it turned and it shows the sword
into the world
in Sithlis. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. You should have started with that and then went into something. I don't care. You could show a little imp running around, a demon, anything. I don't, but like this crap with Anduin going on,
yeah,
I could care less. Get your crybaby ass back out there and do something cool. You know?
I actually, for them, I get it. Like, it was their first BlizzCon back. I do not, believe it or not, I do not like that they release, like, hey, this is going to be a 3-part saga and you're starting it, because I would have much rather it as a WoW, like, fan. Because, I mean, I don't have my subscription right now, but I live through you. And then if I ever, like, I need something for them to, like, get me to reopen my subscription, right? And for them to say, hey, this is a 3-part saga, I'm going to play a part of a story and not have the ending for a long time.
Yeah.
Because they said it's going to go into, like, quarter, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, for years we've said, like, oh, a quote-unquote WoW 2 or, like, graphic update or something.
Reset button.
And I would take that. You know what I mean? Or I would almost take, like, hey, guys, this is what I would have rathered at BlizzCon, them say, hey, this is the final arc. Like, this is it. We're gonna build to this, right? We're going to take everything that makes WoW amazing, and we're starting a completely different story. There's going to be, they could do a time skip, they could go backward, they could go forward, they could go parallel. I don't care what they do. But for me as a player to re-download it, and I know we have 2 different views on the game, but for me to say, hey, I really want to play that game, is for them to say, hey, we're restarting, come along with this journey and start over, if you will. But it's like, I don't like, and I would, don't get me wrong, I'm hyped. I liked the hardcore thing. Let's try some different things. But why go backwards, right? And I get it. There's a lot of vanilla fans, and I'm saying, again, now it's my turn to make them kind of turn over and attack me. But my thing is, like, as a player that barely has WoW on the surface, what I would appreciate is, the final arc. Hey, let's start over. But we're going to put in some new things to make WoW really fun and exciting. And we are, like, we're going to protect our vanilla base and make sure that these guys, you know, get the experiences that they want to have, because they're going to do it on their own if we don't. All right. But we want to make sure they're supported as players. But then on the other side, for you new guys that haven't been a long part of this journey and weren't there when we started, or weren't introduced, right? Like I was, like you introduced me to the game. Let's go from here on out, right? And like, let's, whatever, if you want to do this. And I think it's me just being optimistic and wanting like, hey, here's the facelift and here's the things that we're going to do. Because now, like, you can get in and this isn't a negative thing. You've played it long enough, but like, I can tell you where I'm at in the world and what I'm trying to do. And you're like, oh, you can do this.
Yeah, the accessibility has never been better for a new player coming into WoW. Like, it is very player friendly.
Yeah.
Like, new player friendly. You can hop right in, basically just hit the ground running. If you need to take time to learn everything about the game, it's all right there.
Yep. In
the settings, it'll literally walk you through everything, what every button could do, like where to find anything you need. Like, do you need, here's the auction house, like whatever, you can do anything. It's great. But going back to what you were saying, I had a couple things I wanted to weigh in on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so BlizzCon came out, and I heard it was handled like extremely poorly with like all the people that had the portal passes. I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, it was the online viewer.
Not the online, the in-person like speed pass, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard it was handled extremely poorly. Like, the lines were like a mess. Like, it was basically you wasted money just to have this pass that was a different color from everybody else's because it got you nothing except a sorry bag at the end of the trip from Blizzard. I was like, oh, okay, well, that sounds about right. So with the whole three-part expansion that you were talking about, what I thought was going to happen in BlizzCon, I really thought this when they were going to announce it. I thought they're going to be like, hey, we're gonna change things up on the release schedule. We're gonna slow down. Like, we're gonna, instead of 2 years in between each expansion, we're gonna take a little longer, flesh out each patch. You know, really make sure like we got the storyboard going how we want to. We have all our ideas fleshed out. You know, we're gonna be slowing things down, taking our time. Because it's the story's a giant mess right now. Like, I don't even want to dive into that because it would make me angry.
I think that'd be a cool story, but anyway, we'll talk about it.
They didn't do that. They went the opposite direction. They're like, we're going to be putting out a new like patch expansion every 18 months, and it gave them the 3.
Yeah.
What the future holds. They're like, we're going to go faster. And I feel like what we were talking about earlier, having to produce that much content on a on a regular basis at a tight schedule, I feel like a bunch of stuff is going to fall through the cracks.
Yep.
Like, you're just going to be walking down a road and, oh, there goes your character. He's falling for eternity. Just weird stuff.
Quantity over quality.
Yeah, I feel like the story, and is it Metzen who's taking over?
I think so.
And I have faith in him to completely like save the story, because the story sucks. Now I don't like what they did since Shadowlands. It was like, what are y'all doing? Stop. I believe he could save it, but I believe if it's on a time crunch, you're gonna be doing it with one hand tied behind your back, you know, and a dog chewing your foot off, because it's like, okay, we got to get here in 18 months. How do I tell this story that makes sense? Oh, it's coming out. All right, cool. Here's your 1 day off. Now you got to get from the story to here in another 18 months. Like, I feel like you're just going to be in a constant pressure cooker.
Yep.
Trying to save the story of World of Warcraft, make it make sense, and then also produce the content that the players have been expecting this whole time. Mythic Plus, PvP, open world raids, just all this crazy content.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I get where you're going with that for sure. And that's why I was saying, like, it would make sense if they were like, hey, and this is our final arc. Like, this is it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because then that gives you an area of, like, in a way, forgiveness. No, everybody's going to be unhappy, right? You cannot please everybody. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And so with that, but then also, I don't know. I think you're saying, hey, we're going a different direction, we're going to try to redevelop the IP, whatever, it kind of gives them some grace to be like, people are like, hey, they're just trying to finish out the story how they want to. Now let's see what we can do, and then they can bring in a new team for this new IP and so on. So
I feel like if they did that, like if they're going to end, like, okay, this is our final arc, we're ending World of Warcraft, and we're starting
whatever.
Yeah, it could, World of Peacecraft afterwards. I don't know. Give it World of Narnia. I don't care. Whatever name you want to give it.
Yeah.
Basically WoW 2.
Yeah.
If they did that, one, the crap storm that would be coming from players would be just astronomical.
Yeah.
But say they do that. They're like, we don't care. Like, this is what we want to do. We're tired of building on this world. We want to start a new one. They would have to leave those servers open for WoW basically until all eternity, until time stops, because a lot of like players who have devoted literal years of gameplay time into WoW, all their collections of transmogs, mounts, just special unique items, like I would feel so devastated if I was like a completionist or something. I mean, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they wouldn't care. Like, if they did it to me, they're like, hey, we're like, none of your stuff that you collected matter. We're moving on to WoW 2. I'd be like, all right, finally. Thank you. Do something better.
Yeah. But you don't have that view. Like,
yeah.
Like, everybody doesn't share
they would
your
have
view.
to leave those servers open for the rest of eternity, because the amount of time people have spent in World of Warcraft collecting and just like
these like the mounts and stuff like that are
even on just the friends, like their guilds, like all the work they've done in the guilds, like just period, like they would have to leave those servers open forever, because those people would like, they would throw, I want to say a fit, but it'd be more than that. It would be like a catastrophic event for
it's almost
the amount
like
of time played.
In my head, it was like, it would be cool to like, not like you have an auction house, but it's not an auction house. And it's like, you go there and you turn in your rare transmogs for like tokens for WoW 2. So when you drop into WoW 2, you can use those tokens for things that you want.
No, screw you. You don't get crap. This is new. You don't get anything old from the old. I don't care about your glad mounts. I don't care about your one-on-one transmog. Screw you. This is new. Leave old WoW in the past, back on Azeroth where it belongs. Yeah. We're now on, we're on Meseroth. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, this is new. Nothing, like, this isn't StarCraft. You don't get to fly between planets. Azeroth was blown up.
Yeah,
it's done. Yep. Like, none of your stuff exists. You don't exist.
And
you're new.
And just restart.
Create a new character.
Yeah. Honestly, I do like that. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So,
in order for them to do something like that, they would have to do some kind of crossover. I know they're not going to do that, because they.
Well, it would be like from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2 is why I'm like, the reason why I'm thinking about this is because I had a lot in Overwatch 2. I mean Overwatch 1, but because this was like the birth of crossplay, I had an account on my PC.
Yeah.
I had an account on my PlayStation. I had an account on my Xbox. And they literally, what's crazy is they sent an email to everybody, and they sent you like a text message if you were on that service part of it. They were like, you have 2 weeks. You have to go to your main system that you want to play Overwatch 2 on. You have to log in, and we are going to merge all of your accounts into one to be a final cross-play whatever. There were skins that I had that I didn't know that I had that I got on my PC that I was like, oh, I got this back in like 2015 when I was playing Overwatch 1 as and I was like, man, but it's possible, but they gave it a time frame, and if you miss that time frame, that's on you.
Yeah.
So
I mean, at least they gave you a warning.
Yeah.
But if it's like, if it was it like an email or was it in game? Because if it's email, that's like
it was all three. Email, text message, and in game.
Okay, damn. All right.
They were like letting you know, like, hey, your time, like if you haven't done XYZ to merge all accounts, because you literally like log into your main account, like the one that you have been using, and it looks for emails that are like yours, which it would be like, it's obviously like unique to you, and it would ask you like, hey, are these any of these accounts associated with you? And obviously if you selected them, you had to add a password, right? So I selected them, added my passwords in, and then it went go, and then it took all of those into one. So like skins, characters you unlocked, everything all into one system. And I loved it.
Did you see that they're now doing an early access like bundle for WoW?
No.
The new expansion? Yeah.
No.
It's like they're doing early access. I'm like,
why?
Like, why are you falling into that trap? Like people.
Well, it's like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3 just came out, and I know Activision owns Blizzard now, or however that goes. But so I've been playing Modern Warfare 3, and I didn't realize until like this morning that I've been playing the early release model of the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so it's like, Monday is supposed to be the release, or next week sometime, right? It's supposed to be the full release of the game. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. Just, God, this is what makes me feel old, because I'm like, can we just go back to either, all right, Tuesday the game's not out, Wednesday the game's out.
Yep.
Like the 10th, it's not out, the 11th, it's out.
Yep.
Like we're good. There's no like, here, pay an extra $100 and you can get it on the 8th.
Earlier.
Yeah. It's dumb. And I was looking at this last night and I forgot, but they put out a statement of like, it's for people that want to get a head start who work, full time and don't have a lot of extra time to play video games. That's what somebody from Blizzard was saying it. And I was like, that's so stupid. Like,
if you want to play games bad enough, you're going to find time at some point to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's not a good excuse.
Yeah. No.
It's so weird. I mean, I can't say anything about games for the past 2 weeks anyway, because I just got back from Houston.
Yeah.
While I was there, I did some physical like
shopping of games.
Yes, and not online. And at Replay Games, which was a great store, we're gonna have a review video coming out before this podcast comes out.
Nice.
It's great. If you live in the Houston area, it's located at East 21st Street and Yale Street in the Greater Heights District. Replay Games, walk in, say hi to Dave. He's a cool dude. But when you go in there, go correct what you're looking for if you're trying to dispute like retro games, because this dude knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's one of those guys. He knows anything about everything, about any 8-bit related content. Like it's kind of scary. But yeah, the shop's cool. When I was there, I actually bought a 64, Nintendo 64. Yeah. So hopefully soon here we'll have a TV and we'll be playing as we're doing the podcast. But I mean, I screwed up because I bought the 64 and he was like, "Hey, I'll throw in the HDMI converter adapter to play on the newer TVs." I'm like, "Oh no, dude, I'm gonna roll old school and play on the old curved TV. Like old curved TV, like the box curved screen, not the newer stuff." And he's like, "I can respect that." And I was like, "See, that's why." It's really for me, just because I want to go back and relive the old, terrible, 9:9 resolution or whatever it is. Because, on this camera, we're shooting in a 16:9, right?
Yeah.
So that's the resolution we're in, and this is probably all wrong. I'm so sorry. If you're into cameras, I don't know anything about anything. So those older TVs, while we're playing, it would work perfectly because that resolution will be squished in with the capture card on the screen. It'll be like a 9:9.
Yeah.
So, which is probably wrong. I'm sorry. It's something like I'm in the ballpark. I know.
Yeah.
But
you're there.
Yeah. But I turned down the converter adapter. I was like, I'm gonna get an old TV, bro.
Yeah.
Get out of here with your
How hard
new
are those
stuff.
to find?
I went to every Goodwill within 15 miles of our apartment. None of them. And some smart ass at Goodwill was like, you can just go to Best Buy or Target, and they sell the newer TVs with the AV inputs. I'm like, that's not the point.
I need a classic one.
Yeah, I want an old TV.
Yeah.
With the AV inputs.
Yeah.
Not this new. I'm not trying to be fancy. I want the old stuff. And he was like, it crops in anyway. It's the same.
I want a TV that runs on
gas.
gas.
I don't want no. Yeah, I don't want LCD 4K,
GoldenEye.
Yeah, Samsung, TV. I want the old Toshiba DVD player with the VHS player combo AV, and you turn it on and it takes a couple seconds for it to heat up and get going. That's what I want.
Yeah.
But none I can't find one. Even on like Facebook Marketplace. That's where I go if I'm desperate.
Yeah.
That's the last place I want to go.
Yeah.
I couldn't find none. Like that worked. Like they were like, "Oh, trash, your screen's broken. You can parts. Yeah, parts." And I'm like, "What am I going to do with the parts of an old TV from 1992? Like nothing." Like
we could start a TV repair business.
Yeah. So that's something y'all can look forward to. I don't know, in the far future now, because I don't know what TV I'm going to get, but
yeah.
So I mean, it's nothing like, it's not like groundbreaking. Like we're not doing anything new on YouTube, but we'll eventually have a TV here that you won't see.
Yeah.
And it'll just be an overlay of the capture card with whatever game we're playing. That's the fun thing I want to do, is get some older 64 games that we'll start playing as we're talking. So you have something to actually watch, not just us staring at each other, or me staring at this cat that's been across the street. He's been doing all kinds of weird stuff over there. You have any ending thoughts?
I think no, but thank you guys for the ones that are. I think we're at 22 subscribers now.
We lost a couple. We're at 21.
All right, well 21, but we appreciate you guys tuning in every week and listening to our hot takes over games, television, and everything's that we've just grown up, but we do appreciate you guys tuning in and actually listening to it, because it is a work of love, even though we try to meet up and do this.
Yeah.
So
like and subscribe. I really need to get like a notepad and start writing down these notes.
See,
my facts have been all wrong.
See you guys. See you next week.
It's terrible.